shadow in the government's game. Pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone. Always searching for a place that could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hell beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a tailhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Henry, and for all you new people might show up, and for the people that's watching that have been watching, welcome back. Glad you're here. Sorry about the rant earlier, but just had to clear the air. Now, this here is episode 25. I got called back to the project, taken back, however you want to say it. And like always, they let me go in, took me to my room, and checked me over, asked me some questions, and fed me, and got my shower, and hopped in the rack to go to sleep. I was sleeping pretty good. Guess kind of say I started getting used to it. Besides that, I was born in this kind of place, so I guess it was home, away from home. Sounds kind of weird, but that was my way of thinking. And anyway, I go to bed that night, and I'm sleeping really good. I mean, they probably heard me halfway down the hallway snoring. sometime in the middle of the night, heard that door unlocked. So I was groggy. I started to get up, shake the cobwebs out of my head. It was still dark in the room. Heard some feet shuffling around and doors shut. I heard the lock. So I'm just hanging out there. Next thing I know, some people grabbed me, put a big hood thing over my head, cinched it shut underneath my neck. Not so tight I couldn't breathe, but there wasn't no way if I got my hands free I could have got it off without untying it. I felt my sleeves being pulled up. I was like, oh shit, now what are they going to do to me? I felt several hands holding me down while I was trying to shake the cobwebs out of my head and get loose. Figure out what the hell was going on. Felt something wet and cold on my arm. Next thing you know, a real sharp, fast pain. Then I felt somebody rubbing right where they stuck me with something. They started massaging my arm. Somebody was, while the other was holding me. Heard a guy's voice. We had to wait for a few minutes. Like, what the hell are they waiting for? Maybe today's the day they're gonna get rid of me. I started seeing all kinds of shit. Crazy shit. Shit that didn't make no damn sense. I don't know what was in that needle, but whatever it was getting ready to take me for one hell of a ride. I kept thinking, well, if it's some kind of poison, I hope the hell it's quick and over with. Well, they undone the tie and pulled the hood off my head and the light was on. There was all these guards around and these scientists and doctors. What the fuck? Well, I went from being dead asleep to being hurt and pissed off and now feeling really weird. The rooms feel like it's closing in on me. It looks like it is. I'm starting to see all kinds of shit. Even the people look like they were morphing. They told me, said there's no use fighting it. Just relax. Dude, it was wicked. It was some kind of drug. I don't know what the hell they were doing. Maybe they were going to try to overdose me on it. I don't know. All these things are running through my head, of course, with all this visual effect shit I'm seeing that really either is there or ain't there. I ain't sure which. The next thing I know, I collapsed on the bed. And the talking sounded like it was way off. Like somebody was talking through a paper towel holder. Way the hell off. Well, I went passed out, sleep, whatever you want to call it, unconscious. When I woke up 2 days later, I wasn't in the same place I started out in. For whatever reason, they decided to ship me back through time somehow while I was out. Now, I don't know whether I was really out or if that was to relax me so they could wipe my mind. Who knows? With those fuckers, it could have been anything. I found out later they took me back sometime in the 60s. I don't know what the reasoning was for this, but they took me from one place to the other place, which was another military installation that just so happened to, at present time, closed. But during this time, it was run by kind of a skeleton crew. This place was out in BFE. God, I felt nauseated. You know how when you get a hangover from drinking, you get up next morning and they call it having hot pipes, where it feels like your face is in a steam bath and you're dehydrated? Yeah, that was me. And there was some people standing there in the room waiting. They said, any of this look familiar? I looked around, I was like, this ain't the room I started out in. Different smells, different sounds. No. You have no clue where you're at. As far as I know, I could be in the same place. Just moved to a different area. No, we moved you. Well, they decided to better get some breakfast in me and let that kind of wear off, because it wasn't something you was just going to get over with in just a few minutes. Food wasn't going to solve all of it. The only thing it was going to solve was your hungry stomach. So I, kind of groggy and trying to eat and force my drink down. I said, I don't know what the fuck you guys shot me with. I'm hoping as fast as I scarf this food down as fast as possible that you didn't put something in my food. They just started laughing. They said, well, we just done it for your own good. I said, so what's the game? They said, well, the rest of the day you're just going to rest unless you want to go out for a breath of fresh air. We'll take you out. As groggy and as tired and still feeling squirrely, I chose to go for a walk, even if it was a short one. So, they take me out into a hallway. I walked down that hallway. In this place, there wasn't no elevator, not in this particular building. They said, we'll help you along with the steps. I said, I ain't helpless. So I took the stairs and they walked me out and then down a short hallway and then up another few stairs. When I come out there, that fresh air felt good. It was a little warm, but I mean, it wasn't intolerable. It was like 76, 77. But damn, that sun was bright. Brighter than usual. I guess because I'd been tranked or drugged, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Well, they walked me down this concrete sidewalk, if you want to call it that, down to a street, blacktop. I seen these military people, they was going by in jeeps and deuce and a half, and people walking around. They said, well, we'll take you on a short walk and then come back, and if you feel good enough, we'll go on deeper into the base. Okay. So I was walking, just kind of trying to shake it off and enjoy the nature, because this place was out in Bubbafuck, Egypt. A figure of speech. It was out in the boonies. So we walked probably about 4 or 5 blocks, city blocks, and I see this double gate. Now, from where I'm at, because I'm on the inside, the guard shack was on the left. Now, if you looked farther over to the left and up the hill, there was a great big fucking building over there. Of course, I was still groggy, so I wasn't sure what the hell it was, but it's just a big concrete building. Well, we approach where the gate is, and the guard shack's got 2 guards in it. And as we come even there with the guard shacks, one of the guys flipped up his ID, and the guard just kind of like, they give us kind of a little bit of a strange look, but they waved us on, because we wasn't going out the gate. We were just walking to the gate, the guard shack, and go back the other way. Well, I'm seeing all these people on the outside of the gate. Even back then, I was a people watcher. I was curious, where in the fuck am I at? People outside the fucking gate, on the street. And I can see off in the distance across the road. We was in a high elevation. So I'm busy turning while we're heading away from the gate, and they're pulling me along, like, come on. I guess they didn't want me to get oriented. Like a homing pigeon, I guess. We walk on down that road. To the little way there to the right was where I come out of that building underground. So we walk on past it, and I'm looking at it. Well, up above that, there was a great big hill, but it was like the top of it was cut off. It was flat. I seen a set of stairs that went up to it with handrails. Okay. So I happen to look, and I see this fucking pole, like a flagpole, but it has this orange long thing on it. It was a windsock, an orange windsock. So obviously that must have been like a helo pad. It wasn't huge, but it was big enough for a helicopter. So I'm kind of looking at it, things over, trying to figure out where in the hell am I at. We walk on down. Ahead of me, I don't see nothing but this blacktop road. Looked like it was wide enough for 2 vehicles, one going and one coming. We're walking along, and I see this guy come jogging. He got on a white t-shirt, pair of khaki-looking shorts, back to his knees almost. I'm looking at those tennis shoes. Like, that was weird. So, he gets about even with us, and everybody waves, and he waves back. So, we're following this path through the fucking woods. This road. It's got sidewalk on both sides, and every so often there'd be a fire hydrant electric pole. Like, where in the hell are we at? Well, I know we must have walked probably a mile, quarter of a mile maybe. And it was all of a sudden, the woods opened up, and there's all these fucking buildings. And I'm looking them all over. I see military vehicles, you know. Where in the hell you guys got me at? Well, I see off to my right, up on top of the hill. There's a big tall building, and there's like a platform. It's kind of like octagon shape. On top of that flat platform was a building up there. Kind of like a lighthouse, but it wasn't like this. It was, you know, pretty straight up down. And I see these windows, and they're all tipped open. The hell, and I can hear machines running. I don't know what the hell it is. There ain't no numbers, nothing on the doors. So, walk up a little further, and I see this road that cuts off to the right. I'm looking back in them woods. Of course, I'm still groggy. And I see this. Best way to explain it looked like a big, huge pile of dirt with grass and stuff growing all over it. But out from it, kind of like a canopy, it was that military netting, camouflage netting. Well, I see in the front there's two big, huge freaking doors. I mean, huge. This thing is huge. I kid you not. The doors was open. They could have put a big passenger jet inside that so much and closed the doors. Not counting all the Jeeps and stuff they could have put around it. It was huge. Kept looking, and they said, "You fascinated with that bunker?" I was like, "That's what that is." Yeah, pretty neat. Reminds me of an underground cellar, like my great-grandma had. Well, you can see people in there walking around and see vehicles, and hell, there's even a couple guys sitting there playing with a basketball. Nobody really paid us too much mind other than once in a while wave. We walk on further, and there's some smaller concrete buildings lined up, and they said, "Well, you ready to go back?" I was like, "I'm not really. I'm coming out of it. The more fresh air I get, the better I'm feeling. Can we keep walking?" "Sure. Today's your day." So I'm taking in all this here. All these things I'm seeing. I even seen a guy riding a bicycle. Guess he's trying to keep up on his training, his physical training and stuff. He's pedaling down the street. We waved at him. He waved back. So, going down, and like I said, there's buildings on both sides of the road, and then all of a sudden, it was like the end of town. The road kept going, but the building stopped. So we walked probably maybe another quarter mile, and there was a road that shot off. Where did that go? They said, "Well, we was told those are some other buildings. Some of them were, some of the guys, you know, asleep." "Can we go by that way, or do we just go ahead and go straight?" They said, "It's up to you." I said, "Well, let's see where it goes." So we turned, and way back in there's a bunch of great big huge Quonset hut looking things. And they just had like house doors on them. So I was curious. So I watched a couple guys come out, come toward us. They spoke and waved, so we did. We went on toward the door, and it had a big square window. And on the side of that, there was these windows, and they could raise them up, get cooler air in there during the cool summer days. So we went and opened the door and walked through. You walked in there, the main part there, little like a kind of like a mud porch. You know, you walk there and then you open the next door, and there was beds all over the place. They was 4 wide. There was against this wall, the left side, there were beds running all along there. Then there was a little hallway, then another row of beds, then a big wide hallway, another row of beds, a hallway, and beds against that wall on the right side. At the end, there was a door. We walked all the way down to the center, and there was like an office there. Then you go through that office, out another door, and that took you out the back, and there was a small sidewalk. It went off toward the woods. So we went out the back door, and then come around the building on the sidewalk, back up to the front. And they said, well, which way, left or right? I said, go right. So we go to the right, and we're walking. Get on down there, and we're like halfway down this hill, kind of like skirting around it. We walk and walk. All of a sudden, we come to these. It reminded you of a wooden tent. And there was about a 2-foot gap between the bottom of it and the ground. And they had these big, look like telephone poles that they were sitting on, kind of like on stilts, like cabins along the river have. But they would not have the ground. And they was big enough, they probably hold 4 or 5 guys. So I'm looking at these things, and they're on each side of the road. Like, well, that's fucking cool. Well, I figured, this place where they bunked. So we walk on. Shit. Next thing I know, we come to this. It looked like a big concrete bathhouse, shower house. There's a big fence all the way around it. And then a gate, like a 4-foot gate by 8 foot tall. You open that, and inside there, on one side, there was a building in between, like a concession stand. On the right side was a tennis court. On the left side was a swimming pool. Big old fucking swimming pool. Huge. Like, it's a little too chilly for me to jump in. So I looked things over, and then there was a road that took off to the left, a kind of looked like a gravel, dirt-looking road, and it was kind of like going down the hill. Like, I don't know if I'm up to that. So we turned around there and headed back. And I can hear all these different noises way off in the distance. I can hear cars and sound like a highway. But yet, periodically, I could hear people having fun. It didn't, I don't know what they was doing, but you could hear them way off in the distance through them hollers. Don't ask me why I didn't notice this on the way there, because on the way back to the left now, which on my way there would have been on the right, on the hillside there, I noticed this great big, looked like a big giant steel door. I was watching that thing closely. It had 2 big pipes that come out like an L. I don't know what that was there for. I guess there must have been maybe some kind of manhole cover or something. So, as we're walking past, that frickin' door opens. They had a frickin' trailer truck in there. A military trailer truck. Painted camouflage. They had some dozers in there. There was a deuce and a half in there. There was even some mini bikes in there. Them motherfuckers even painted camouflage. I don't know what the hell they was using them for. But there were people in there doing work. So, kept a walking, and here come a Jeep with 4 guys in it. They all waved way back, keep walking. And I'm just taking in the sights and the sounds, and then I noticed to my right, going down the hill, there's a real steep fucking hill, there was a set of steps. Like, where'd that go? He's like, don't know. It goes someplace. And we kept walking, because like I said, I was still feeling kind of weak. So we got back, and they said, you gonna rest for a while? What, you mean sleep? Yeah, I'll try to. I said, but first, I'm gonna go have a shower. So I took my shower and laid down, and I fell asleep to hearing people talking and walking around. Occasional vehicle, military vehicle. Well, come to find out, it was a place that, because I was on the inside, I didn't recognize it. Had I been out on the road the public was using, I would have knew where I was at, even though it was a different time. There would have been things that I would have remembered. If I fell asleep, I was bushed. I woke up. They come in again and said, you're a pain in our ass. So what's new? You're all a pain in my ass too, so I guess we're even. It ain't like the other place. We had to walk to go get your food and bring it back here. That's what good for you. Dude, I was friggin' shocked. Hamburger, lettuce and tomato, pickle, ketchup, and no damn mustard. Onion rings and french fries. I mean, like you would get at a restaurant, like Hardee's, McDonald's. But, dude, that sumbitch was so big, that big old, I called it a dagwood. It was so big, I had to smash that son of a bitch, keep trying to smash it so I could get my mouth over it. And I got a big mouth. Damn, that was good. Well, years later when I was in the military, they had to have called out for that. Or they had one good damn chef that worked at Burger King or McDonald's. It was good. I was bloated. They said, well, we need to take you down to sick bay and have you checked. Make sure you're okay. What, first you fucking try to drug me and poison me? Now you want to make sure I'm okay? So they take me outside. Now I'm partially underground in this place. They take me outside, and there's a Jeep waiting. So I was like, well, I guess I'm getting in the back, which I already figured that. They wasn't going to trust me to set shotgun. There was already the driver and a person sitting in the passenger side anyway. So I climbed up and over. There was a person on each side of me, plus two right behind me. They must really thought I was a threat. Well, I don't know where that boy got his driver's license at, but he grinded a few pounds of gears and popped the clutch, and I mean popped the clutch. Down that road we hauled ass. And I'm watching, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, who in the hell taught this somebody how to drive? Where'd he come from, the Indianapolis 500? We get down there, and there's a way on down the road, and there's a turn to the right. That's the road I was asking about earlier. I think he took that thing on two wheels. Everybody leaned this way, and when he straightened out, everybody come back. Good fucking God. Here I am riding with Richard Petty. We take this road, and we're going up the hill. And there's a place on that road, because you're going uphill, and there's a place. It looked like that road was damn near straight up down. I thought somebody was going to turn over backward. He started downshifting, and up that hill he went. There was two great big buildings up there, and they had like camouflage stuff on the top of them. I guess they was worried about somebody spotting the buildings or something. Hell, I don't know. It was in the middle of the woods. They pull up in front of the one door and whip that son of a bitch around in that parking place there that's painted with the two stripes, you know, we park in the middle. He brought her to a screeching halt, and he said, I'll be here waiting. So they walked me up to that building. They'd go up like 15, 20 stairs, go uphill. They opened that door, and we went in. Now, there was a set of stairs that went upward, but there was another set of stairs beside them that went down. Man, them floors were clean and squeaky, waxy, shiny. Walking along and squeak, squeak, squeak. Shit, I don't even think you could have walked across a barefoot without squeaking. We followed them stairs down to a platform, turned again, went down another set of stairs. We ended up going down like 5 or 6 flights of these stairs. Get down there, and there's a door. You open the door, and there's a long hallway with doors on each side. So they take me all the way to the end, and I'm starting to think about them taking blood, you know, like at the clinic thing. Evil bastard. So go down there, and they knock on the door, and somebody from inside, come on in. It's now, we're going to place 2 guards outside this door. Don't get no bright ideas. I got you. We go in there, and the rest of them standing with me, and they're over there talking and filling out paperwork. So they did a physical. They checked my temperature, and checked my blood pressure, and even tapped me on the knee with a fucking little triangle hammer. They checking everything. Then I see him come with this package. Like, what the fuck is that? Oh, hell, that's that razor blade thing that they stab your finger with. But they come over there, wipe my finger, jab that son of a bitch, and of course blood flew, and I about went into panics. Well, they get done, they wipe it off, put a Band-Aid on it. Damn, it hurt. Okay. I said, so how did I do? Did I pass? It's like everything checked out. So they took me back out into the hallway, took me down. There was a door that said stairs above the doorway. Opened that up, and we went down 3 more flights of stairs. Go down the hallway, and there was a door that said canteen on it. Went in there, and this room, it was huge, like a basketball court, but it had a bunch of tables, and there was an area where they was cooking, and they treated me to lunch. Hell, after them trying to get me stoned, drug me, move me to another place, a different time, then speared my finger a while ago. They ought to treat me for lunch. It was good. They even had watermelon there. Dude, I ate watermelon, and I knew I was going to be pissing like crazy, but I like watermelon. I'm sitting there pigging out. And of course, they're sitting there eating too. And all these people coming and going, there's some of them coming in to eat, some of them leaving. Notice everybody kind of watching. I was the only kid in there. So we got done, took our trays and emptied stuff in the trash can and put it over there in the stack. And we headed back out. Go out there, and the guys still waiting there, the 2 guys still waiting in the Jeep. So we got in, and they turned that summit around and said, hey, we have a pretty snazzy base. You want to take a scenic tour? I said, well, if I got a choice, go ahead. They drove me around. This place was huge. I mean, it was freaking huge. But they kept me away from the roads that would lead you out to the guard shack because there was a lot of them. But I mean, I believe actually you could have drove all day long and still not seen all that base. They took me up this one hill, gravel hill, and the photos will be in the post area. Of course, it was years later, but there was these big doors, and you flip them open, they were huge. And there's fucking missiles in that motherfucker. Dude, them summits were huge. God damn. They even had doors where you could go down into like a tube-looking thing that had a ladder, and you could go down inside of there and walk all the way around. There's like a big giant room. It was fucking cool. Got to see that. I can't say too much about it because I'm still bound. But anyway, I was at a different base and seen all this stuff. I even see the military chopper come in and land on that big friggin' pad on top of the hill. It was a sight to be seen. But I noticed the few times I could see way off in the distance, it was all fenced in. But I seen all kinds of bunkers, all kinds of stuff. It was cool. I could have had a good time there if I'd have been free. Just exploring, like little Dora Explorer. That would have been me. Well, they take me back, drop me off, me and the group there. They told me, so, well, we'll be just outside here. If you wake up, maybe want to go out and stretch your legs or play basketball or something. Today is just a day just to relax. And then we'll start tomorrow working on some stuff. Cool. I went in and crashed. I wake up what I thought was the next morning, only to realize I had lost 2 days. They probably put something in the fucking food. I don't know. Anyway, I woke up and they had these bags. Like, what the hell they got in them bags? What the fuck they gonna do to me now? They said, well, we need to go for a ride. So we went out and got in a Jeep and taken way down back in the boonies on that road. And there was a building there. It looked like it was half sunk in the earth. And top of it had like this netting and shit on it. So we went in. They had it was like a rounded looking ladder that you go around as you go down. Like what you see in a lighthouse. Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers really want you to get some exercise. So we went down there, and then there was a door. We went out into a hallway, down the hallway, and then there was a great big room. I don't know what that kind of room it was, just a great big room. It all looked military to me. About like every other base. Went in there, and they said, we want to show them some of the stuff we've been doing with you. Okay. So they said, follow us. And they went down the hallway, so I went with them. And there was a door, and you come out. Well, fuck, you come out on the ground. That's weird. It's kind of like built into the hill. So they told me, said, you have no clue where you're at. I said, no, I don't. I said, let's get on with this. So I go in there, walk slightly into the woods, and I said, so what do you want me to do first? Can you open a portal for us? Yes, sir. So I tuned in and opened a portal right in that hillside. So they told me, we're going to trust you not to do nothing stupid. So I stepped into the portal, but I had to leave it open. And they was watching. Then they told me to step out, so I stepped out. They said, okay, that big giant oak tree up there, open a portal up in it, and step in there, and then close it behind you. Sure. So I got ready, I opened up the portal, stepped in, closed it. And I'm watching these guys. They're walking all the way around that fucking tree, looking and touching. They was amazed. So I opened the portal, come back out of the tree. But they was just shocked and amazed. I know some of them was writing, taking notes, and some was taking pictures, like, what the hell? I know how them movie stars feel like on the red carpet. So, they say, what other abilities does he have? The guy said, well, if he tunes in, he can read your thoughts. They said, okay, can we see how that works? I said, you mean to tap into you, or is there somebody you got picked for me to tap into? One of these guys that started coming up there where we was at drew a weapon. Well, I won't tell you what I told him, but I started reading his mind. That poor guy about shit his pants. He was embarrassed. He lowered the weapon, and they talked to him for a few minutes, and he goes, I don't know how in the fuck he knew it, because he couldn't have known it. So they pretty amazed about that. So they asked me if they brought a Jeep, could I open a portal big enough to pull that thing into with a couple people, and that they would show up someplace else on the base. I said, well, I'm not real familiar with your base, so what I can do is open a portal here, and way down there, that truck will pull out of that portal and come into sight. So they cleared that area, opened the portal up. Two guys pulled the Jeep in, and all of a sudden it closed our end, you couldn't see it, and they showed up down at the other end coming out of like an electrical fog. So they told them to turn the Jeep around with the radio and had me open it up down there. They pulled back into it and then opened it up where we was at, and they pulled out of another electronic fog. They was amazed. So then they was asking me, they asked me, finally, what else do you do? What else you want me to do? It's like, if we decided we wanted something to eat, could you imagine it and then make it come into our reality? Yeah, what do you want to eat? I said, big old steak would be nice on a platter. Greedy bastard. So I set the tone, the frequencies, imagined it. I told him, you gotta put your hands out. He put his hands out. That plate appeared with that big old freaking steak, a lemon, along with salt and pepper, ketchup, and A1 sauce. He had somebody else hold the plate. He cut a piece of that steak with the knife that come with it and the fork and tried it. He thought it was a figment of his imagination. That poor guy was, I think he was scared, wondering what else I could do and what I might do to him if I got a chance. I had no reason to do anything to him. He wouldn't do nothing to me. Just had me do a little show and tell. Actually felt like a movie star. All these people staring, Google-eyeing me. It's kind of fun for a change. At least I wasn't getting hurt. Wasn't being beaten. So then they was asking about the chair. I seen one of the doctors / scientists put their arm around him and kind of walk him off. He didn't seem too pleased. I don't know what they was talking about because I didn't hone in on them. They got done talking, they come back. He goes, he says I can't use the chair, he ain't gonna bring it here. But he says you can tear a hole that I can look through and see it. Yeah? I can. So electronic fog shows up around us. It looks like a zipper. It just kind of parted open. He's up there looking through that opening, looking at the chair there at Montauk. He said, you mind if I get a picture? And the guy said, no. You're looking at it. It ain't your time to have it. So, hands off. I shouldn't even let you seen it. He goes, hey, Henry, close that portal. You better get your head back. Otherwise, your head will be stuck up there at Long Island. Well, I caught what he said. He said, up. That means we probably had to be somewhere south. But was he going to tell me? Hell no, they weren't going to tell me. Don't know what the reasoning was, but they weren't going to tell me anyway. They take great precaution that day, those few days, to make sure there wasn't nothing there that would tip me off as to where I was at. Nobody mentioned about what area we was in. For the longest time, I didn't know. But years later, somebody told me about this place that they would go up and party at night. Of course, it was abandoned. So I went up there one time and did like all the other people, snooping. It was the same place, but everything was gone and in shambles, rusting, paint peeling. But I remembered being there. Remembered all the people that I'd run across, talked to. Anyway, when my time was done there, I can't say what I was doing there, but when my time was done, they did the same thing. They drugged me, and I woke up back up at Montauk, at the place where they kept me when I wasn't home. And like I said, years later, I was told about this place and went there, and dude, you talking about like a surprise smack in the face with a pie? I can remember all these people, even though I didn't know their names. I can remember all the sights, the sounds, the smells, even the food, which was pretty damn good. I can remember all that, just like it was earlier that day. I still carry a lot of memories of places I'd been taken and places I was sent. I don't know how it is with the rest of you people, but for me, all this stuff just seemed like it just happened just a few minutes ago. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. But that's, I guess, the way it works. At least that's the way it works with me, because of what I was and who I am. All this stuff just seemed like it was just a few minutes ago. So it can leave you with PTSD, which, yeah, I do. I got it, but I live with it. I mean, a day that goes by, I don't think about all this stuff, but other than when I decide to open up and talk to my wife about it, I keep it to myself, what I'm telling you guys now. But it's strange. Even though I've been away from the projects, I still kind of worry that they might try to get their hands on me again. I don't think I can do it twice. It's bad enough one time. Like I said, it's funny too, because some of those people that was at that base, I run into a couple of them over the years. They didn't remember me. They remembered the kid that was there, but they didn't know that was me. And they were a lot older then. A lot of them from there moved on back to their states. Well, when we went up there, it was like reliving it. We took the road up on up to where I was telling you about the swimming pool and those little cabin deals. Well, a couple of weeks went past, and me and a couple guys went back up there. Of course, they didn't know anything about my past, but it's better to keep it away from them. We went up there and just out fart-assing around. Well, they pulled there by the bathrooms, and just down the road there was an upside-down T. And we was on the top part of the T, and then the road went off. A road went off to your left, and then you keep going straight. So I'm looking at this little building, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing that building. So I start really looking at it from way off, you know. I start walking that way. Everybody else was like, hey, wait for us. But I'm still walking. And I see something, a shimmer, like somebody holding a mirror there in the brush. Like, what the hell would they have in them weed in that brush that has a mirrored effect to it? The more I kept watching it, I could see it like it was following me. Like it was trained. What the hell? Well, got so close, I finally seen what it was. It was a gun with a scope on it. Somebody holding it. I tried to haul the ass back to the car. Like, fuck this. I don't know who it was, 'cause I didn't get to see their face. But I did see the barrel of the gun. I seen the scope on top of it. I don't know if it's somebody just trying to scare us, or maybe they're trying to get their fucking hands on me. Who knows? But we got the fuck out of there. I do know this. Even today, this place is still monitored by people. And just because it's abandoned, I ain't gonna tell you where the place is, I ain't gonna tell you the name of the place. But be careful around those old military installations. Just because you think they're empty, at any given time, they could be somebody there. Slap a bag over your head, handcuff your ass, and hold you to get interrogated. If you got any photos, they can confiscate them. So, I ain't gonna tell you not to, 'cause I'm not your mama. But you do at your own risk. That's all I'll say about it. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit, and my wife and I will post those photos in the post area either tonight or tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good night. Take care. Bye.